Davey D hanging out with you this afternoon. We're in New York City, and we are talking to somebody, an unsung heroine. But when we talk about hip-hop, we know the story of Kool Herc. But there is always a woman that stands alongside and usually behind, holding up the man that is taking credit or getting the bows and accolades. And we wanted to talk to the first woman of hip-hop, Cindy Campbell, the sister of Kool Herc. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm here at Martha Diaz H2A Association. It's the Hip Hop International Film Festival, and I'm here to support it along with plenty of other people.
Now, you're going to be honored, for your contributions to helping start this culture. How do you feel about that, and after all these years?
Well, I feel great to see the way hip-hop has evolved to the way it is today, and it's always a work in progress, and I'm always here 100% behind it to help whoever I can, and I see hip-hop just going in a positive way.
Now, we always heard the story about Herc doing that first party at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, and you were the person that put this thing together. Let's talk about it. We've always heard Herc's perspective. Let's hear your perspective of how that party, that infamous party back in 1973 came about, or 74 came about.
Oh, Davey, it was 73.
Oh, we're 73. Oh, no, I'm thinking of Universal Zulu Nation 74.
Oh, okay.
Right, but talk about that party. Well, talk about the dates when it started and how it went about.
Okay, that came about because I wanted to get some back-to-school clothes, and I was working at the time for the Neighborhood Youth Corps, and the money that we were getting paid wasn't enough. So I had to think of a way, how can I increase my money? And I saw a way to do it by having a party in the recreation room at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. And I went down to ask about it. It was only $25 to rent the room, but my father had to sign for it, which he did. So that's my money being put together.
But how old were you at that time?
Well, Davey, I want to let you know I was I was a teenager.
Okay. That's how you do it. Okay.
We were all teenagers at that time. So it came up, and Herc had a sound system, but all that equipment was in his room. He used to work with my father, because my father used to play for different events for his friends, and other people. So I'm thinking, how can I cut my costs? Because I have to have the music. That's the main thing when you have your party. You got to have the music. So I said, well, it'll be free because I don't have to pay for it.
So this infamous party, the first hip-hop party, was to cut costs? Is that how Herc got the start?
I was cutting costs. The invitations were done on index cards that I got from school because I was in the student body team. The beverages, I bought wholesale at the wholesale beverage place. We bought a different variety of beverages. We had Old English 800 and Colt 45. And believe it or not, David, that set the trend for the hip-hop drink. That's what we sold there.
Well, you sold Old English?
800 and Colt 45.
As teenagers?
Because that was the strongest liquor out there, smart liquor, so we were thinking of ways.
Wow.
But you know what? It was supervised. That's the thing about hip-hop. Hip-hop was done all on love. It was supervised. Our parents were there. We always used a buddy system. When people left, they left, as a group. Nobody left by themselves. When people came there, everybody was, it was supervised. You couldn't get out of hand. If anybody wanted to do anything wrong, they knew they had to leave and go down the street. They couldn't do it there. So it was family oriented, and hip-hop, it came out of love.
And your brother at that time, he was an athlete, so they didn't really want to mess up with him anyway.
No.
So do you remember that first party, the records that he played, or what it was like? What was your fondest memories of that day?
Wow. August 11th.
August 11th, 1973.
73. Okay. So, and you know what I did also? Well, basically the party was for my friends. And if we really didn't know you, then you had to pay. But so many people came because we charged 25 cents for ladies and 50 cents for fellas. We paid about $500 between the door and selling the hot dogs and the sodas. So So, it was successful.
Do you remember the songs that were played that night or that day?
I can't think of offhand. What I do remember is when we gave the parties, one of the things that we did, and they don't do it now, we had a slow jam session. You know, so I went out and I bought some slow songs for my friends because there were fellas coming there that my friends like or I like. So this was an opportunity to have the slow song to dance with somebody. And I miss that in the clubs. Nowadays they don't play that, and it just takes away from people kind of getting to know each other a little better. So they should have those songs in the club.
Now over the years you've managed your brother's career. You've cut a lot of deals for him, and I don't know. Did you set up any other parties for him? At that time. I mean, talk about some of the deals that behind the scenes you were responsible for making sure your brother got his just due.
You mean as far as the party back then, or just things in general? One of the big things I did was I set up the movie deal with him in Beach Street. With Harry Belafonte, Stan Layton, director, and also David Picker, which is a co-producer of Midnight Cowboy. And I was in the office by myself with all these big shots of Hollywood, and also Harry's secretary at the time. And the part that they wanted Herc to play when I looked at the script was a negative part. And
really?
I had them change it.
In Beach Street, what did they want him to do initially?
Well, the part he was supposed to play, how the kid got his break was actually Ruby Denazi Davis' son, Guy Davis, played that part in the movie. He was supposed to get his big break because Herc was supposed to be a well-known DJ, but he had his hands busted on a windowsill and he was very sulking and he couldn't play. So this is how he got his big break to play at the club. When I saw this, I told Mr. Belafonte, I said, Harry, my brother can't play this part because Herc is a positive person. He's always helping people. He'll put people before him, and he still does that today. So they said, okay, Cindy, we'll change it for you, and we want you to look it over, and if you're happy with it, we'll go with it. And when all that was done, Harry said to me, he goes, Cindy, are you a lawyer? And I said, no, I'm not, Mr. Belafonte. He goes, well, you're dealing with Hollywood right now. I suggest you go out and get an attorney.
Oh, really?
And we did. He did. So he was very helpful in that sense. But that's one of many things that I helped my brother with.
Right. I remember the famous Source cover and one of the rare pictures where Flash, Herc, and Bam, the triumvirate of hip-hop pioneers, are shown on the cover. So you brokered that deal, huh?
I brokered that deal with John Schechter at the time, and he just wanted Herc to do an interview. And when he called me and we started talking, I said, why don't we do a cover story? And that's how the idea came about. He goes, well, Cindy, if you can get all those three guys together, we can do it. And I said, and they also have to get paid for it.
So you told them they had to get paid.
Yeah. And
so they had to pay to do that cover.
He said, we usually don't pay people to be on the cover. I said, well, these are not ordinary people. You have to give them something. And I still have the contract where they all signed it. And it was done. I called Flash, I called Bam. I knew Herc was going to be there. Got it together, and that was history right there.
Right, and of course, with the book, where people really got some insight into Kool Herc and a little bit of your family because they talked to your dad. Can't Stop, Won't Stop with Jeff Chang. What was that like, and how do you feel Herc's legacy and your family's legacy with hip hop and all that has been presented?
Well, he didn't talk to my dad. My dad passed away a few years now, God rest his soul. I still think of him today. But yes, we did talk about him in the book. Never leave him out.
Okay.
And I know, and I do hope my family's legacy will be, looked at in a positive way, and that history will recognize it. Because right now, I have a non-for-profit organization. It's called Hip Hop Preserve. And what we're going to do is we're going to preserve the origins of hip hop. We don't want that to get lost or get missing, because people don't know the origin of it, how it started. It started in the beginning from love. It flew below the radar. And if hip hop didn't fly below the radar, it wouldn't have evolved to where it is today. They would have stopped it. It wasn't done from out of drugs or gang related. The money that we put into it was money that we made ourselves and earned. Whatever money we made at the door, we put that back into the party. Herc would put that back into his equipment. We weren't out there buying clothes or jewelry to be flashy, but that's not what it was about. We were giving the community, we're giving people something, we're giving people a culture. When the parties got too big for the recreation room, we had to find a larger space. When the weather started getting cold, we had to go out there and find place for our crowd. And people don't realize that. And we didn't give parties just to give a party. We gave a party for a reason. We gave a party for a reason.
And what was the main reason?
Well, people will say, Herc, what's coming up? You haven't given a party in a while. And we said, okay, the streets are telling us to give a party. And for instance, we always gave something for a Thanksgiving party or maybe for a New Year's Eve party, Christmas party. We gave that to people so people didn't have to go downtown. A lot of people couldn't afford or have the money to go downtown. And one of the reasons why we had the parties because we just wear your sneakers and your jeans. And that set the trend for hip-hop. That's the whole thing, because no dressing up to try to get in a club. No, just come as yourself. And that's what we're doing today. That's it. Be comfortable, and that's what hip-hop is.
Of Kool Herc, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm here at Martha Diaz H2A Association. It's a hip hop international film festival, and I'm here to support it along with plenty of other people.
Now you're going to be honored, for your contributions to helping start this culture. How do you feel about that? And after all these years?
Well, I wanted to get some back-to-school clothes, and I was working at the time for the neighborhood youth corps, and the money that we were getting paid wasn't enough. So I had to think of a way, how can I increase my money? And I saw a way to do it by having a party in the recreation room at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. And I went down to ask about it. It was only $25 to rent the room, but my father had to sign for it, which he did.
Davey D hanging out with you this afternoon. We're in New York City, and we are talking to somebody, an unsung heroine. But when we talk about hip-hop, we know the story of Kool Herc. But there is always a woman that stands alongside and usually behind, holding up the man that is taking credit or getting the bows and accolades. And we wanted to talk to the first woman of hip-hop, Cindy Campbell, the sister. You were the person that put this thing together. Let's talk about it. We've always heard Herc's perspective. Let's hear your perspective of how that party, that infamous party back in 1973 came about, or 74 came about.
Oh, maybe it was 73.
Oh, we're 73. Oh, no, I'm thinking of Universal Zulu Nation 74.
Oh, okay.
Right, but talk about that party. Well, talk about the dates when it started and how it went about.
Okay, that came about because I'm great about to see the way hip-hop has evolved to the way it is today. And it's always a work in progress, and I'm always here 100% behind it to help whoever I can, and I see hip-hop just going in a positive way.
Now, we always heard the story about Herc doing that first party at 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, and